I'm gonna say this on here. Within 3 years, I guarantee you, everybody in our nation will know somebody or have had a direct impact from this fentanyl crisis in America, one way or the other. That you're gonna know somebody,
Absolutely.
you're gonna be touched by it, it's gonna affect you. So when that opportunity comes, I think connection's the cure. That's a problem. I'm by myself. Are you okay is the question.
Yeah, I'm good.
Huh?
I'm good.
Okay. You know I need to call 911?
No, sir.
Okay. It's one. Hey, man. What the hell, dude?
Alright.
You're out, bro. I just put Narcan in you.
Why?
Because you're out, bro. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Bro, you sure?
Yeah.
You're bleeding and shit, too. Look, man, I just threw a Narcan in you, man.
I'm fine.
You're out, dude. You wouldn't wake up.
I'm good.
Now?
I've been good, but I don't understand why would you put Narcan in me? I didn't.
My man, Brock Bevell, the Fentanyl Project founder. Are you the founder of it?
I am, yeah.
That's right. So you have all the liability.
Man. Yeah. Safety.
That's right.
That's for
and
sure.
listen, I really appreciate you. I'm reading the memo that it's Blue Shirt Day on Into the Rock.
I'm seeing it. I don't have the cool lining, though, man. I'm missing that.
Yeah, but you look good. You look
Thank you.
good. You
Thank
know
you,
what? It's about the message, right? It's about the message, and when the message is delivered correctly, the light gets brighter. Ooh,
Let's
made
go
that
with
up.
that.
No, I didn't make that up. If I make it up, we're going to prison. So
Yeah.
welcome to the show. Brock Bevell,
you,
the owner, founder of the Fentanyl Project. His mission is to educate the public about the dangers of fentanyl and make this epidemic real to those who haven't experienced it. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
You know, it's interesting, man. Like, I'm in recovery myself, and I was an opiate addict. And I have children of my own, and they didn't see it, man. They were involved in it. They got affected by it. But as addicts, we push everybody away. And so that's what I did. I was master disguise. I mean, I worked undercover, so I was so good at the manipulation and living both sides of the fence. And so here's the problem with the fentanyl. Nobody knows about it. It's the most glorified secret we have, that everybody stands on a platform and says, we're going to change it. We're going to do all this, but nobody does anything about it. So my goal was, when I started the Fentanyl Project, is I wanted to find a way to bring addiction, to bring the fentanyl into your home. And the best way for me to do it was to show them online, on their phones. So, we're all looking at our phones. So I wanted them to see a 30-second, a minute clip on what this stuff does, and then the trends, and then what's coming and going. And that's really what I want to show.
Well, and we're going to get really deep into this, and make sure y'all subscribe to this. And when I say share it out, make that your donation. Make that your donation to share this out, to get the message out to anyone. Okay. So don't be ashamed that if you share this out, your friends might think you're on fentanyl. Okay. You share this out so people who can see it, that it might, flip that switch for hope. But, I'm going to ask some questions that we think we know, and let's kind of break this down. All right. Let's start ground zero, because you are definitely on the front lines, and we're going to get into that. What is fentanyl?
Fentanyl is there's two types of fentanyl. There's an illicit fentanyl, and then there is a pharmaceutical grade fentanyl. So if Michael, you're riding down the street on your bicycle, you fall off and you break your hip, you go to the hospital and they're going to put your hip back in place or do surgery. They're going to use fentanyl to put you under. So it's that disappearing of who you are for a moment to where you don't feel the pain. So it's a pain blocker is basically what it's an opiate. Fentanyl is it's synthetic. So it's based on chemicals being mixed together. So like we hear about this opiate epidemic and we hear about like heroin. That was back in the day, but that was a plant. And so we fought wars over there. We were trying to shut it down, Afghanistan, all this stuff, because we didn't want it produced and brought over. But that was a process. To create heroin, you had to grow the plant, you had to water it, you had to have workers. I mean, it was crazy. Now you mix chemicals together, poof, you got fentanyl. And it's 50 to 100 times more potent than heroin.
So those are the pictures that we see a grain of fentanyl on a penny, that, you know, this amount of fentanyl can kill someone. And I'm glad you broke that down, because in recovery, I was actually in an old studio of mine. I was hanging some stuff up and I was on a ladder by myself doing all the wrong things. You know, I'm Mr. Construction Man, and literally hung my leg on the ladder and broke my leg. And when I got to the hospital, I was scared because they gave me ketamine in the ambulance. Okay. And I'm like, and I told them immediately I'm in recovery, and, you know, and they totally respected that. And when they gave me the ketamine, and then when I got to, and my sponsor was actually there, so he was right there with me. And then I get to the hospital, and I heard the doctor say, you know, I heard the word fentanyl. That's all I heard. And it really scared me inside. So, but you broke it down. There's the medical grade. All right. Under doctor supervision, we're going to be okay. But then there's the kitchen sink grade. Okay. That's man-made, that's more powerful. And that's what's killing our nation today. And thank you for breaking that down.
For sure.
But you mentioned the word undercover. What do you mean undercover?
So I was an undercover cop in Mesa. So the same place that I work, the same place I was born, the same place where my addiction started, I worked as an undercover, as a police officer. And then once you go through the department, I got to work undercover, and that's what's interesting, Michael, is I didn't know anything about addiction. I knew it from the other side. I knew it from the law enforcement perspective of, dude, I'm arresting these bad guys. These guys are carrying heroin and fentanyl and methamphetamines. Well, they weren't carrying fentanyl at the time, but like G and all that stuff. And so I was like, man, I'm doing a hell of a job arresting these guys, you know?
Yeah, I'm changing the world.
Oh, I'm changing the world, bro. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you're working undercover, and then were you in the midst of your addiction when you were doing this?
No. So what happened was I was actually run over. I was working a narcotic sting, and intel came in from a confidential informant that there was a lady transporting her 12-year-old daughter. She was going to traffic her daughter in exchange for drugs. So she was doing the swap, right? You get my daughter, I get your drugs. We're all happy. And what was interesting, this informant was a prostitute. And she's like, hey, I cannot let a 12-year-old girl go down like this. She cannot be prostituted. She cannot be trafficked. So will you please get involved? Leave my name out of it, but could you help us? So we actually were able to interdict the process, the deal, arrest the dealer. And in the process, mom tried to run us over, tried to get away. And so she caught my right foot under the tire, broke my ankle. I went to take a step and it looked like Stretch Armstrong, the toy. My leg just blew out. So that was kind of the start to the finish of my career, because, just trying to rehab from that, I came back and then worked at the Systems of the Down Rob Zombie concert the night of, and blew my knuckle out. So they're like, hey, Bev, you're out, man. We cannot, you're a liability to this place. And that's where my addiction really started. It was that disconnect of who I was. I had all my personality, my who I was, my I am, all wrapped up into being a cop. And when that was taken away, my identity was gone.
Wow, that's actually a whole other topic when our identity is when our false identity is removed and that grieving takes place. We don't know how to process grieving, depression, loneliness. And so when we find that visible thing to try to fix that invisible problem, it's like, boom, I'm back. You know what I mean? And it's that false sense. So just a quick story about your story. What happened? I mean, what was the awakening that got you clean?
So the interesting part, Michael, is that it was a 10-year journey. Like it didn't I just didn't get addicted to it. But I started taking the opioids because I had an injury, right? I could just tell my wife, hey, I got an injury. Not really understanding that there was a switch that was happening, that I was now out of pain physically, but the emotional pain was just skyrocketing. I was angry, man. I was like, dude, I was just running with my boys, my team. I've been in shooting. I mean, like you name it, dude. And here I am, like nobody's coming to save me. And so I lost my identity in that. And then, so I just let it run for 10 years and kept using, lost relationships with my kids. I have 5 beautiful kids, man. And they didn't know it was addiction. They didn't know it was opioids. They just knew dad was a dick, right? Dad wasn't doing where he was supposed to be. He was cheating on mom. He was doing all these things, and which was true.
Yeah.
But I had to have a awakening. And you asked the question, what was it? I woke up one morning, reached over, my pill wasn't there. So I walked in the medicine cabinet, opened the cabinet up. All my pills were perfectly placed, written on, hey, you got 18 oxys left or whatever, right? And then it just like pissed me off. It was just one of those moments that just made me like, you're a freaking addict. And then when I went to shut the mirror, it gave me a glimpse into my room. And I just looked at myself and said, Brock, you're a crackhead, man. You are an absolute addict. So A-type guy, pissed off, grabbed all my pills out of the cabinet and dumped them. And there, Mike, the fight began, right? It was like, all right, Jesus, we've talked so many times. We've talked about not doing this anymore and stopping. Here we go. And so I went through it 7 days in my bathroom. Day 3, I had a conversation with God. And it's funny, people's like, God doesn't talk to you. I can tell you right now, God has a sense of humor. He loves us and he talks to us. Because in that bathroom, day 3, I'm like, okay, God, guess what, man? I've gone through it. I've crapped myself. I've urinated myself. I threw up on myself. I have no more energy. And all I heard him was a laugh. He's like, son, if I let you back out, you'll take one pill and you'll be right back where you were. I'm like, man. And I'm thinking, this dude knows me, man. Like, I just wanted to be out of pain. I didn't want to go through this anymore. So I sat in it. And 7 days, the 7th day, which I don't know why 7 days is such a number in the Bible, but day 7 was, I wasn't negotiating with him anymore, but I just said, hey, God, I get it. Right. We talk about that moment of surrender. I guess maybe this is my surrender moment. It wasn't my rock bottom, but it was my surrender moment. And I just said, if you let me out of here, I'll never use again. Like I'm committed. I've gone through it. I felt like you either take my life or let me out, because another hour of this, I'm just dead. And you remember Hulk Hogan and WWF stuff, right? Where the referee grabbed his arm, he raised it up and he dropped it. And he raised it again, and he dropped it. And the third time he like raises it and he starts shaking it. Man, I swear to you, brother, that's what it felt like. I'm in the bathroom and I feel this just rush of energy. And I'm like, I went through 7 days of hell. And to even be able to like stand up and think about, hey man, you got this. You can move out of this bathroom and you don't have to go back there. Was a changing point in my life, you know? And so it's been almost 15 years and I have not. And now understand, I've had 3 major operations this year on a hand, bars put in my neck, and a shoulder surgery. Have not taken one opiate. I am that scared to go back to it that I refuse.
Praise God.
So there you go.
Praise God. Well, the number 7 is important to me because I don't know if you've seen on July 7th, 2017 in my top bunk, thanks to policemen like you, was when I had my spiritual awakening, and I, being really, that is my book that works for me. This is the Bible, and the number 7 is the number of completion, and that's what that means. And so you were completed, and that's when when God played the Rocky music for you.
Yeah,
That's when he played your Rocky song.
He
And
did.
so,
And since you brought that up, man, I just want you to know, I don't want to digress at all, but I want you to know, man, when I started this journey on like trying to change people's life, you were one of the first guys I reached out to. I want you to know, I reached out to you. It was probably 2.5 years ago. I was like, hey, Michael, man, I love what you're doing. I'd love to come on your show. I'd love to talk to you. And I didn't get a response.
oh,
But
yeah.
and it's okay. I get we're all busy. I know all that. But I was just like, man, this guy, I want to meet this guy. So I just want you to know, like, what you're doing is impactful. I hope you know that, man.
Brock, thank you so much. And yeah, this is and our good friend Higgy, who connected us, who's staying here with us. He's been here for the last week and a half, and it's been such a blessing connecting, because with M2 The Rock, I've had to raise my hand and finally say I need help. This has gotten so much bigger, so you're not the only one. And I tell everybody, man, just keep messaging, and I just can't get to them all. And so I'm so grateful that we connected and staying. But thank you for the kind words. I received that. Brother. Thank you. In this disease and in recovery, and for everybody watching and listening, we'll have all of Brock's contact information, his nonprofit, or everything where you can reach out to him and help out and be a part of. You don't have to be an M2, you don't have to be a Brock to do it the way that we do it, to give back, because we're taught in recovery, in order to keep what we have, we give it away. And God will make that purpose bright and clear for you. But in order to keep what Brock got, you give it away. And bro, I mean, I'm just looking at just a little bit of it, and tell us what you're doing, because in this show, we're dropping in layers, showing video of the things that you do. I mean, how did this happen?
Yeah, this was a God shot. Let me just tell you that. I was working for a playground company, and I'm driving down the street, and I see this young man sitting at a church on the corner. And God's like, hey, go turn around and talk to him. I'm like, nope, not doing it. I'm busy. So he kind of hits me in the back of the head again. He goes,
because we forgot about the bathroom when we were crying out to God, right?
Absolutely. I'm a bit too busy for this kid. And hits me again. I'm like, hey, God, really, man, I'm late. I got an appointment. He's like, nope, go talk to him. I'm like, okay, here we go. So I turned around, went to the curb, jumped out of my car and talked to this kid. He's homeless. Found out he was in active addiction, 18 years old, super dope kid, right? Just, hey, I'm lost. I don't know where to go. I don't have any resources. Can you help me? So I spent 10 minutes with him, 10 minutes, man, and gave him some resources, went home. My wife's like, hey, Brock, what'd you do today? I was like, man, one cool thing is I met this kid, took a picture with him and got his story. And she's like, post about it. I'm like, I'm not posting about this. Why would I do that? She's like, post about it. Maybe his family, somebody's looking for him. Someone who needs to hear the story. Just post about it. I'm like, so begrudgingly, dude. I'm like, okay, here you go. I posted it, and it was it was just awkward to post it. Like, how do you share somebody else's story without trying to feel like you're bragging? So, anyways, I posted about it. I wouldn't say minutes later, his dad finds it, reaches out and says, hey, been looking for this kid. We've had a falling out. He's struggling with addiction. Can you hook me up with him? So told him where he's at, went and hooked him up. And from what I'm hearing is he's still sober today. But with that, I'm like, man, I got a gift, right? I got a gift that I went through active addiction. I was a cop. I understand like both sides of the darkness. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start loading my car up with a bunch of crap and blankets and any extra donuts or whatever I have in my house. I'm going to load it up. I'm going to just give it out. And I started doing that. And then people in the community are like, what are you doing? And the reason was I started sharing the stories online, just not to like bring me light, but to show like, hey, we're human. This is a human disease. There's a lot of stuff out there that you're missing. So pay attention in your home. And then moms are reaching out saying, hey, I lost my kid to fentanyl. And fentanyl started getting crazy. Then a guy calls me up and says, hey, can I donate a van to you? Another guy, can I wrap your van? Hey, can we give you supplies? And all of a sudden, I got this full-blown operation going. I'm like, God, what are you doing, man? I have a job. I have a life. This isn't what I want to do. Right. And so that's how the Fentanyl Project Arizona came about, was just God saying, hey, go serve the people, man. You, like you just said, you got to give it back. You can't take any of this stuff with you. So I just started getting in my van. I have a shirt that says get in the van. Right. The thing is, I just wanted to go serve people and help people and talk to them and let them know, hey, you're loved. You can do it. I didn't have anybody coming through my door telling me that. And so I just like, hey, what mouthpiece, what can I bring you today? Can I bring you water? Can I bring you a drink? What is it you need to help you get that next step of life? So that's really how it came about. It was kind of a blessing and a curse all together.
Well, and that's what I love about you, Brock, and I love your humility listen, you wouldn't be a guest on the show if it was about you, because I'm always about people that are about attraction, not promotion. Right. And I love having our guest on, that what they're doing today to help others is not what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
This wasn't my business plan sitting in prison. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
to have a show and speak. And I feel that with you. And what's also neat that I'm hearing you say, looking at it through God's perspective, is that, and I want everybody to understand this in recovery, is he's taken our character defects. Okay, the manipulation, right? And now he's turned it into our asset because it's led by the Spirit and not here, right? And so now we get to take that out to the people who are hurting. And how much are these people helping you?
In my own recovery, man. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like it's an addiction. You know what I mean? Like it is.
And you can't overdose on it. You can't overdose on it.
You can't overdose on it, brother. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is everybody has such a unique gift and a story that they tell. And sometimes I just sob with them, man. Sometimes it's like, I don't even know what to say to you. I understand why you're using. I understand why you want to mask it. But guess what? I guarantee you, like on the other side of this, there's so much freedom in recovery. And that's hard for people to understand when they're in the midst of it. So, the blessings that they bring in my life. I met some of these dudes out here I just love. You know,
I bet.
Yeah. Oh man.
I bet. And you've been an answered foxhole prayer for them, the people that don't even believe in God, and they don't realize that they are actually reaching out for something, and that you become an answered prayer for them. And I love what I'm hearing also is that you are actually showing these people who Christ is. You're not telling them. You're being a witness for Christ without even saying his name. Okay. And that's what's so awesome. And I tried to implement or make it real clear to the viewers and listeners in early recovery. People don't want to talk about God right now. They just don't want to use today.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to do. It's like, hey, I can help you, but if you accepted Christ, no, bro, don't bring that to me. I just don't want to stick a needle in my arm.
Yeah.
But the way that you and I do it is like, hey, can you go the next 3 minutes without using? And they go, absolutely. And they go, okay, that's faith. Let's hold on to that. Right.
Man.
And I totally see you doing that in your videos. One thing I want to touch on, Brock, and I'm glad that you mentioned this, and I think you can bring some great insight on this. The majority of our messages that we get Into the Rock on all of our platforms are from the families. How do we get my son, daughter, husband, wife, whatever it is, off of drugs and alcohol? What advice can you give to families who are struggling with the loved ones who are in active addiction?
Yeah, it's such a good question. I'm going to tell you what, man, I'm an empath, right? I'm a feeler. And when families send that to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to say this on here. Within 3 years, I guarantee you, everybody in our nation will know somebody or have had a direct impact from this fentanyl crisis in America.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
One way or the other. You're going to know somebody, you're going to be touched by it, it's going to affect you. And so that's why it's such a big thing. And there's no right or wrong answer, right? I don't think that, like, each case is individual, but all I tell people is like, listen, there will come a moment where this individual will need you. And if you've alienated them, they're not coming back to you. So you don't have to co-sign their bullcrap. You don't have to give them
Right.
money. You don't have to have them sleep in your home, but they have to feel loved and there's a connection. So when that opportunity comes, I think connection's the cure. I really do.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely.
And so if I could just tell a parent, be like, hey, you're the parent. This child will come back to you one way or the other. And when they do, be that person.
Right.
And that's where it's hard because parents are like, I've done that 17 times. Well, do it 18. Do it 9, right? The 90 and 9. And we hear about that in the scriptures all the time. And so that's kind of the message is just hang in there, man. Like nobody wakes up and says, hey, mom, I want to be an addict today. There's something going on in their life that has to be removed before they can really start healing.
Well, and something that I want to get out there for the families to hear also, and I'm ready for your head to nod up and down when we talk to them. The families are very frustrating to talk to. Oof. I mean, because the families are actually become more sick than the addict. And there's a lot of times that I get in fear that, hey, man, Johnny's doing good. And I'm like, I got to stay in my lane, but I'm scared to death for him to go home. Not that the parents use or anything, but they're not well because Johnny's become their drug of choice. Ooh. Right? I mean, Johnny's become their drug of choice. So for the families that are listening to this, get into recovery immediately. Get educated about this so you understand your role in it. So when he does come home for the 18th time, you're well equipped on how to handle it.
Man, that is so deep. Like, and the trauma bonding, all that stuff is so real, man.
Yeah. And that's another word, and so how do you coach on that? How do you coach? Because listen, we need to stop focusing. I'm going to step out here, and I think you'll understand what I'm saying. We need to stop focusing on addiction and start focusing on why the addiction. We need to stop focusing on fentanyl, but why the fentanyl?
Amen.
And my personal experience, it's unresolved trauma. It's unresolved trauma. What's your take on that?
Totally agree. 100% trauma. I was raised in a super, super religious home. We had family prayers every morning. We circled up and held hands and kissed my dad. Like literally we had on that element, it was textbook. The problem is they had no idea what was going on in my brain. They had no idea the level of pornography I was looking at. They had no idea, they had no concept. They were so out of touch. And the trauma that I was experiencing, they had no idea within the own home. Right. And so here's the deal. Like I tried to mask it. I tried to cover it up by being the best missionary, by the best athlete, by the best person in the gym, the best husband, and that stuff just bleeds, dude. And if you don't get that unresolved trauma, you're bleeding on everybody around you. And so the problem is, parents, you're not perfect. Right. And that's what, as I'm a parent and I screw up all the time. Right. Yeah. There's no book for us. So I don't know. I'm parenting the best way I can. But especially when I'm struggling with an addict, man, it's real. Right. And so the key is you got to be in touch with that individual and you got to get them help. And you might not be the right person for the help.
Right. Ooh, I like that. That's exactly right. And one thing I want to touch on, and I've shared this before when I've been on different newscasts across the country, is that as I tell them, and it blows them away, I said, is there a solution to the fentanyl crisis? If we build a wall, it was on Fox News, and they said, if we build a wall around the entire country, will the fentanyl crisis go away? And I said, no, I'm still getting high. The responsibility is on the addict. The responsibility on the addict. So what is the solution? For all you people that are into stats, right? If you want, the stats, I always say your best treatment centers have 1-star Google reviews, right? Because that means they're telling them, they're telling what they need to hear.
Yeah.
If it's a 5-star review,
you're in trouble.
But the solution that is the most successful solution is one recovering addict working with someone wanting to get in recovery.
Oof.
Ooh. That is the best. One alcoholic working with another, one drug addict working with another. Because you know what, Brock, you and I know how to do it because when we were in the disease, we hung out with other alcoholics and addicts, right? So now we do it today. The Fentanyl Project. So you're on the front lines of of helping these people. And back to the families and the opioid crisis. Let's talk about Narcan.
Okay.
What is we hear about Narcan, and a lot of people listen to this show to get educated, and it's like, I'm too scared to ask what it is because I should know that. But what is Narcan?
Yeah, Narcan's a opiate reversal drug. So like if I had Narcan right here in my hand, which I have some right here, if you put it in your child's nose and hit it with them, put it in their nose, nothing's going to happen. Zero effect on the human body outside of an opioid overdose. When you use opioids, your pain receptors that say, hey, I'm in pain, they get attacked by the opioid saying, hey, you're no longer in pain. It masks them. So what happens when you overdose, too many of those things have gone on, you start nodding out, you start losing your respiratory system, everything starts shutting down. Narcan, the drug goes up through the body, grabs those receptors and yanks them off. And so it pulls them out of an overdose fairly quick. Within 2 minutes, I've seen 7, 8 canisters being used because of what's now in the fentanyl with it. But usually you can pull them out of it and you shake them. I mean, I just posted a video a couple of days ago where I Narcaned a guy. I drive my van around. The guy is dead. And I'm saying he's dead. I'm yelling at him, screaming at him. People are screaming at him. He's not waking up. So I just roll up and Narcan him, go back to get my second vial because you got to wait 2 minutes, trying to slow the situation down. I go back up, grab him and shake him. And he's like, whoa, what are you doing? What? Totally oblivious. I just Narcaned you. Why? Because you were dead. You were dead.
Wow.
So it's like having a fire extinguisher in your home. If you have a fire, you're glad you had it. We hope you never have to use it. That's what it comes down to. So it's nice to have. And what's crazy is I have family members call me all the time, say, hey, I Narcan my boy. He's not a user. Well, what happened? He was at a party last night, had a headache. His buddy gave him a pill. He took it, came home, and overdosed.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I was going to touch on that. And for all the families there, I'm highly recommending that everyone have Narcan in your house because non-addicts could have, let's just call it an allergic reaction to opioids. And it could be an overdose. Even they've never taken opiates in their life. And like you said, it's perfect analogy to have a fire extinguisher in your house. In the links below, guys, we have an educational video on Narcan telling you all about it, as well as following Brock and all his platforms to do that. So Brock, what are you doing today?
Yeah.
And how can people help you out? Go ahead.
Yeah. If you don't mind, I want to cover one thing where a lot of parents don't understand. I hear the biggest complaint is not my kid, not my son, not my daughter. It's never going to happen.
Come on.
66% of the youth that are dying in America dying in their own bedroom. 66% of the kids that are dying in their own bedroom with a fentanyl overdose because the individuals who are producing and manufacturing and making the fentanyl in America today are using it as they're masking it. So they're making it look like something else. Today, in all the weed that you buy off the street will have fentanyl in it. Every bit of methamphetamines that you buy today have fentanyl in it. The vape pens have fentanyl in it. And these are illicit ones, right? But the cartels are so smart. The people that are this is from the DEA. They're saying most of it's coming in from the cartels. Americans are manufacturing it too. So it's just not the border issue, like you said. But what I want people to understand is I work daily with police agencies all over the nation. Check this out. Ohio just had an arrest where they stopped the vehicle. They searched the vehicle, incident to arrest. They found thousands of Tylenol pills, white, red writing on it, Tylenol T on the other side. You know what I'm talking about. When they field tested it, 66% for fentanyl in a Tylenol aspirin. So what they're doing is they're masking it. They're putting in these other drugs so you don't know you're taking it. Or they're doing it so it can elude and evade the police. So your daughter has a stomach ache. She goes to her friend, hey, I have cramps. Can I get a pill? She lends her a pill. It has fentanyl in it because you don't know where she got it. Right? If it's prescribed, it's not going to happen. But it's the illicit stuff that you have to be careful of. And it's everywhere on the streets of Arizona. And probably I know in California.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's everywhere. So
it's
huge
everywhere.
concern.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, because addiction's everywhere. Drug addiction's everywhere.
Yes.
You know why drug addiction's everywhere? Because fentanyl's everywhere, right? I mean,
And we
it's
demand
everywhere.
it. We demand it. Like as
Yeah.
an addict, we demand it. Like we talk about supply and demand. It's economics, man. We
Right.
as Americans are consumers of this stuff. That's why
I
it's
see
here.
I see you holding your pen. Let's do something here. The pen you're writing pen. You know where I'm going with this. Go ahead and pop it open. Go ahead and click it. Describe the tip of that pen in the fentanyl world.
Yeah, 1 grain of sand. 1 grain of sand can
Yeah.
kill you. Take your life.
Yeah. Yeah. I want y'all to see that for the people who are listening to this, the ballpoint penny that Brock is holding up, 1 grain of sand of fentanyl can take you out.
And do me a favor. Here's what I like. I mean, I don't try to push people to my pages, but if you want to know, I'm
pushing them to your page.
Everybody I talk to on there is involved grossly with the addiction. You would not believe, Michael, how many people, like 2 months ago, I was a nurse. I was a nurse. I hurt my back picking up a patient. They cut me off my pain meds, and now I'm on the streets. I'm homeless. It's not like when we were kids and we smoked weed. It's not like that. Like we didn't have people dying. Today, it's a weapon. It's a weapon of mass destruction. And so it is taking, I swear it's a battle between good and evil. Like God's in the mix, you know what I mean? But
absolutely,
it changes people so fast. Like you can see people that I've interviewed 8 months ago, and then today you see them and you're like, holy crap. Like that's the same. It's not like the meth teeth and all that. It's just, it zaps the soul.
Yeah.
So that's what I just want, I'm so passionate. I want people to understand that it's the dangers of it. It's so big, man.
Well, and and here's the good news: recovery, born again. Okay, it also brings a soul to life. It brings a soul to life. So it's the complete opposite. For someone who's listening to this, and by the way, Brock, I don't know if you know this show that we're doing right now. Say hello to everyone in every jail and every prison in the entire country. M2 the Rock is on every tablet, so they're listening to this, and to provide hope for them. Some of them aren't coming home, but they can still be of service to the inmates that are coming in, and it's such an amazing deal. I'm giving you permission right now, and I want you to take full advantage of this. I'm not going to let you off easy. How can people help you?
You know what? We always need financial support, gas and insurance. That's a big thing. But more than that, dude, I tell people all the time, pray for us. Pray for us. It's dangerous out there. Like really, guns pulled on us, knives. I mean, it's a different situation. So we always want God in the mission. And when you're praying, ask for him to soften these people's hearts. We're having a lot of success getting them off the streets and getting them into sober livings and getting them into detox. So that's a big thing. Our asks are simple, man. Our asks are little things that can support this community. So if you go on my Instagram, our Linktree has an Amazon where you can buy lipstick or chapstick and sunscreen blankets, just little things that we throw in the van. Any donation we get wraps right into going back in the van. So right now, winter gear, right? Beanies, hand warmers, gloves, socks. Those are the big things. We do get inundated with jackets, which I love and I appreciate, because we're just giving them out as fast as they come in. So that's where they can help us the most, and freaking be educated in your own home. Like be willing to talk about this stuff to your kids. It's not a secret, man. And you can save people's lives.
Absolutely. What's a day like for Brock? I mean, what's your schedule? Because I said, and it's real, you're on the front lines. It's like, when you're in law enforcement, put your gear on, kiss your family goodbye, go out there in the jungle. What's a day like for you? What's your schedule when you kiss your family goodbye?
So I work for a company called What Good Looks Like. So I do mental health in the college level. Okay. So I get to help young men out. When I'm done with that, I'm always on the streets. I try to dedicate 2 hours a day, no matter what, but it usually turns into about 4 hours, because when you get out there and you start giving Narcan out, we give test strips out on fentanyl test strips and xylazine test strips, because that's just huge right now and everything. And
wait, stop a second. Xylylene. What is that?
Xylazine. Yeah, that's a good
Okay.
thing. I'm glad that popped up. Xylazine is what you're seeing right now called trank dope. It's a tranquilizer. Now check this out. It's a tranquilizer that veterinarians use to put down big animals. So if you're seeing these videos and you're seeing people totally slumped over, like that's not fentanyl. That may be a level of fentanyl, but the level of them totally bent over, totally out, zero recollection, that is actually the xylazine that's in it. And what it's doing is it's causing massive wounds. So I'm talking like wounds that you've never seen before. And then you're homeless and you can't take care of them. So they become septic. You get MRSA. It just complicates everything. But the reason it's there is to strengthen the drug. So it's in the marijuana, it's in the coke, it's in everything. It's like, man, we're just getting stronger and stronger drugs. So yeah, there you go.
There you go, families. Families who
Yeah.
are watching this and listen to us, we just taught you something new, and it's stronger than ketamine. It's stronger than Special K. You know, all the street names that you say, and it's a monster, and it's coming. And you know, so many people will shake their head like, why? Why does some M2? Why did you do this, Brock? Why did you do this? Well, because we were willing to go to any lengths to remove the pain and the suffering. And, you know, for the families listening, we're not bad people. We're not bad people trying to get good. We're sick people trying to get well.
Wow.
You know,
Amen.
and that's what it's all about. And, you know, and to give these people a chance, give us one great success story to wrap up.
Awesome. Love it. I'm a retired police officer. I'm walking a park called Pioneer Park, one of the most notorious parks in Arizona for this. And I come up on this guy automatically. I'm like, he's a gang member. He's fully tatted out. He's got the Hispanic gang indicia, right? And I'm looking at him and he's down, man. He's like, something's up on his mind. So I just sit down on the park bench with him. I said, hey man, what's going on? And he looks up at me. He's teary. He's teary eyes. And he says, hey man, I just relapsed. And my wife's going to kick me out of the house again. I'm going to lose my kids. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, is there anything I could do for you? He's like, would you pray for me? Now, Michael, I don't know about you, but in the open, like everybody's watching, I'm like, my mind was like, that's of everything he asked me, he wants me to pray for him. What the heck? I'm just like, here's this gang member, this ex-cop. And I'm like, what is going on? This is like, I'm being punked.
That's not manly.
Yeah, that's not. But I'm like, hey, bro, you got it. So it was a quick, you know, hey, man, God, this man needs you. Please bless him. And I gave him my card. He walks down the street and just dies on the light rail. Dies. He was begging people, please call 911. I'm sick. Please call. He felt something was going on in his body. Dies on the light rail. They call 911. They get him. They resuscitate him. He's sitting in the hospital. He starts getting better. And they're driving home and he sees my logo on my office. He's like, that dude, he's the one that prayed with me, gave me his card. So let's go back there tomorrow. So they drive home. The next day he shows up at my office. He goes, bro, I don't know who you are, what you do. I want what you have. So today he's over 2 years sober and he's working at a church as a pastor. And I'm just like, dude, I don't care if that's the one. I don't care, man. I got it. You know what I mean? Like that was so dope to see that. And it was, hey, and here's the thing. It was just me being the right guy at the right time. It could have been anybody, but I was there. So God's like, hey, go talk to that cat. And had I listened to this stupid brain, right? This stinking thinking that we get an addiction, like, hey, he ain't like me. We're nothing the same. And there's going to be no connection. God does not care what we look like. He cares about what's inside. And the message that you bring is powerful.
Come on.
And that was the best thing, man. And he hits me up all the time like, Brock, hey, I'm still sober. And I love the fact that he's pastoring a church in the East Valley. And I'm just like, God is so magical.
Man, we don't know who we're dealing with. We just don't know who we're dealing with. And it's man, I don't get speechless much, but I mean, what an incredible story. It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
And you know, too, it doesn't surprise me, but, you know, it reminds me of this, what you said, you know, judging a book by its cover. And I've said this before, God is not interested in status symbols. He's not interested in titles. He's not interested in celebrities. He's interested in one thing, and that is servants. That's it. And I want to applaud everything that you're doing. You've helped me, and I'm so glad that I came into this interview blind. I'm so grateful for Higgy. I still don't remember you messaging me, so let me.
No, I'm gonna find that thing, bro. I'm gonna find that. Yeah, no, I
do
love it.
It's screenshot it.
Yeah, I'm gonna screenshot it to you.
But we can start. We could do M2 in the Brock show.
There you go, brother. There you go. I love that, man.
Or we could do M2 and B2.
There you go. I'm in.
I'm thinking on my feet, baby.
Be square. There you go. I like it, man.
Let me ask you something. If I were to come out there, can I do a ride along with you?
Brother, listen, here, that's the funniest thing. I invite everybody.
That would be so awesome.
Get in the van. And you'd be surprised how many people will not take me up on it. They just won't do it. They're like,
I'm in.
But I would, the invitation, brother, anytime.
I would love to do that.
Just so you could see it and
Brock,
feel it, man.
I want to. I definitely want to do that ride along with you. And it's just, what an incredible story, Brock. You know, Brock Bevell, you know, the Fentanyl Project, all the links below. Check him out. Go subscribe to his page. Go follow him on Instagram. Comment, message him, ask questions. Comment on the comments below, and we'll get with you and answer them. And you know, we say something here at Into the Rock, Brock, and I hope you receive this. And I heard an inmate say this one time when I was locked up, and I couldn't understand what he was saying, but he always told his mom on the phone 381. He always said 381, and I finally asked him, "What does 381 mean?" He says, "Man, it's 3 words, it's 8 letters, and it's got one meaning, and that is I love you." And that's to you, my friend.
Oh, man, I appreciate that, brother. What an honor, man. Really. Maybe there was a reason you didn't answer.
I truly believe that.
You know?
I truly believe that. I truly believe that. So from all of us here at Into the Rock, make it a great day. Make sure you subscribe, like, share this out. Also, you'll have the link to Into the Rock services below. We need your donations as well to keep the show running. And any donations to Into the Rock services as a result of this episode, part of the proceeds will go to the Fentanyl Project to help Brock out and to help another gentleman, a tatted up SA gang member sitting on a park bench, to help that person who is now a preacher at a church spreading the gospel of hope as a result of a cop. Back to blue,
of a
baby.
cop, right?
Back the blue. Thank you, Brock, so much.
Welcome. Thank you.